What's up, guys? This is Steve Terpak. Hope you're enjoying the book. You're here, and I'm glad because I'd like to further explain the whole half formula to create these major scales in different keys, and I want to show you. So let's get into it. Here's C, and first let's start by explaining that C to C sharp is a half step. An interval is 2 notes. So this interval is called a half step. This is another one. This is another one. These are all half steps. Now when we get to this, notice this is white to white. There's no black note in between. This is still considered a half step. And this is where the piano gets deceiving, because if you were to cover up the black notes and just look at the whites, they all look the same. They all look like the same distance. But sometimes there's a black note in between the white notes, like in all these instances. But then sometimes it's open, like between E and F, and also B and C. So if this is a half step, then 2 half steps equals a whole step, which would mean that C to D is considered a whole step. This is a whole step. This is a whole step, okay? Because a half step plus another half step equals a whole step. This is the interval of a whole step. This is the interval of a half step. Remember, it takes 2 notes to create an interval. Also, black to black. This is a whole step. C sharp to D being a half step. D to E flat also being a half step. Half plus half equals whole. So these are whole steps. F sharp to G sharp is a whole step. This is a whole step. This is a whole step. Half plus half equals whole. So that's what's going on with the geometry of the piano in terms of half steps and whole steps. Now when it comes to the major scale, obviously the key of C is the easiest to demonstrate on the piano because it's just all the white notes. And that's why the piano was created this way. Whole step, half step, whole, half. Okay? If you want to go to A minor, you just start on A. Some people say that the minor scale sounds kind of sad. This is kind of like a somber tonality, whereas this is more of like an upbeat, happy, major tonality. But notice that it uses the same notes in the scale. Okay, it's just depending, the major and minor is just depending on where you start. Okay? These are relatives. This is the relative minor. A minor is the relative minor of C major. So, that was a little side note. But to get back to the whole half, let's start on a different note and construct. So, how about we'll start on the key of G. Okay? This is a whole step, half step, whole, half. Okay? And also, if you're a piano player, you're going to start to see what the scale looks like visually. And even if you're a horn player or a string player or whatever instrument you play, you should always have like a mental image of what the piano looks like inside your mind, because it's going to help you compute the theory needed in the instance, whatever music you're working on. So this is what the G major scale looks like. It's kind of like a line and then it goes up because F sharp is in the key. Now if you didn't know that F sharp was in the key of G, and you just wanted to figure it out and you didn't actually memorize it, you can always refer back to the whole, half, whole, half step method. See, I'm trying to give you different tools. You know, the goal is to memorize the keys and the accidentals associated with each key. But on the way to memorizing that, if you can't remember, you can always unlock the scale intervallically. So, this is G major, this is C major. How about we look at F? Okay? Now it just so happens that in the key of F, we have B flat, and you'll see that it follows the whole half, whole half step method. Here's whole, half, whole, half. Okay, there's that major sound. You want to make sure when you're learning these that you memorize what major sounds like, because that's kind of what you need to check as you're learning this theory, as you're learning the notes and the letter names associated with each scale. You want to make sure that your ear is on point to kind of correct in case you miscalculate. So along the way, I mean, that can be a real thing, because as we get into more accidentals, it's kind of can be a lot to keep track of. So let's take, for instance, the key of E major. Okay, this is what E major looks like. Notice these are the two black notes, or the two black notes, and then another two black notes. So 4 black notes, 4 accidentals in the key of E major. And it kind of looks like 2 mountains. Okay, and when you get to the top of the mountain, you have 2 black notes and another 2 black notes. Okay, so learn to see it like that. Learn to see the geometry of the piano. And of course, let's take a look at the whole steps and the half steps. We have whole, half, whole, and half for that major sound. Let's build a scale on a black note. How about C sharp? Okay, this is a little bit different. Mostly black notes involved, okay? If you look at this kind of goes down like a V. Just a dip down for the white note, F in the middle, and then also down like that. So it's kind of like this. And whole, half, whole, half. Look at that. Okay, E flat. Take a look at this picture. You have 12 pictures to memorize. That's really what it is. 12 pictures. Goes down like that and like that. Whole, half, whole, half. Here's F sharp. So hopefully you get the idea. That's really what the major scale is, and that's how it's made up. Yes, you can memorize the accidentals associated with each key. And along the way, in case you forget, you can always refer to the whole steps and the half steps.